John Frusciante was born March 5, 1970 in New York City. He's most famously known for playing lead guitar for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. He also has 11 solo albums resulting from his time away from the band. He's had an outstanding musical career with top charting success and multiple Grammy wins. Despite his success, he doesn't take credit for his talent. Instead, he insists that nature expresses itself through his music. And in this interview, he asks the questions that more of us need to be asking. What don't you believe? And what do you believe?
I think the force that created us is expressing itself through our existence. I don't believe that a musical idea starts in your brain. I believe it starts at a place before that we don't have any direct contact with. And I believe that everything that we do, everything that we create is nature expressing itself the same way that when a flower grows out of the ground or a tree grows out of the ground, it's nature expressing itself. And you might say that the tree is expressing itself by the way its branches move out, but it's the force that drives nature. The tree is the visible thing that appears to our senses, but I don't at all believe it's the source of why everything is perpetuated all the time, you know. And music it's an ineffable thing that I don't think words can really do any good to give us any true understanding of. We are able to make contact with that creative force of the universe or the source or God or whatever you want to call it. We're able to sort of connect with the intelligence of this by learning a musical language, learning a musical instrument, learning how to identify a sound and a feeling, and to be able to learn how to gradually express that feeling through an instrument. The idea of somebody considering themselves responsible for a piece of music is ridiculous. We're only acting into the laws of nature that have given us the possibilities that we're exploring with the intelligence that we've been given. You know, something like the frequency spectrum from low to high. That's here whether we're here or not. It exists as part of the structure of physical reality, and our brains are learning to interact with it through learning an instrument, you know, or through using our voice in a certain way. But the possibilities are presented in this kind of invisible, silent way. They're just there, you know. The laws of acoustics are what they are. The frequency spectrum is what it is. The 12-note to the octave scale was just something waiting to be discovered, but which was already a mathematical possibility. It's that way with any piece of music. I think it's been the big lie that's been perpetuated ever since the star-making machine of Hollywood started, that the thing responsible for a great actor or a great musician, it's just been continued by the music business, is they get this idea into the public's head that it's the physical image of the person and the name of the person that is responsible for the creation of what they do. That's not what creates it. What creates it is the imagination, and the thing that makes it possible for one person to be in the right place at the right time in their life to create the things that they create. It has to do with a really complex structure of the mind and the soul and the nervous system. All these unknown things that are taking place in the subconscious, which can be just as much structured by terrible things as it can by good. You know, a person could be nothing but abused and put down their whole life, and for whatever reason, their will to live, their love for music, their feeling for music, and all the fucked up things that have happened to them all combined to make perfection, you know. I mean, just for example, somebody like Jimi Hendrix having a really difficult life growing up, nevertheless, that was exactly what made him the person who was capable of doing the beautiful, perfect music that he did. Or some kind of disadvantage like Beethoven being deaf. You know, things that appear to be disadvantages, somehow in the complex network of the universe's intelligence end up working towards making this perfection. I really don't believe that somebody would do it with some kind of a perfect life. And this is just all stuff, it can't be explained. Nobody understands why it is that results in it, but it's not because Jimi Hendrix looked the way he looked. It's not because Jimi Hendrix danced the way he danced, or because his name was Jimi Hendrix, you know. It's like these things are just meaningless, yet the way that the business has used these media tools has perpetuated this idea that what's important is that he's the greatest guitarist ever, and he's Jimi Hendrix, and there's his picture, that's him. And it's like the only real picture of him is his music, you know? The only thing that we should be like putting up on a pedestal is the works of somebody's imagination, and the imagination itself should be catered to by the people whose responsibility it is to take somebody's music from them to an audience, you know? It's the real star of the whole thing. I don't believe that the human being is the star, and I don't believe their name is the star. I think it's their imagination that's the star. And just because it's something you can't package, just because it's something you can't take a picture of, just because it's something you can't measure by it's #1, or it's sold this amount, or this many people love it, or this many people come to see it, there's no way to quantify the imagination, and there's no way to sell it directly.
Playing massive shows in front of thousands of screaming fans, Frusciante is still able to keep a calm mind and not think about how the audience perceives him, summed up in this simple quote: "I'm not interested in meeting people's expectations, and I'm not interested in pleasing people."
Talk about being up here on stage. You make it look effortless. What kind of things are going through your mind when you're up there playing guitar?
Oh, nothing. The idea there is to shut your mind off, you know. Music comes through you when you're not thinking, and when you learn how to just surrender to the current of music. It's not about thinking anything or planning anything, you know. So you just learn to shut your mind off gradually through years and years of practicing.
Yeah, and you can do it when you know millions of people are watching and you're on, you know, worldwide television. You think about that kind of thing at all?
That's the trick, is to not think about it from their angle, because you can only really experience anything from your own angle as an individual person. I don't know what I appear to be to the millions of people watching, so I can't worry about that. I just have to be myself. You know?
What do these denominations mean to you at this point? All the band's been through to have this kind of success and acclaim at this point. What does it mean to you and the band?
It means that we're being respected by the industry that we work in. I'm a musician. I think about music. I think about books. I don't get too lost in the way the world sees me. It's not that important.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I said, I just have to worry about myself. I'm a person with a lot of problems and a lot of you know, things to enjoy in my life, and a lot of opportunities to celebrate joy of existence. You know, being acknowledged, like I said, by society and by the Grammys is it's an honor. You know, it's what I take it for what it is. Doesn't mean that I've like reached the highest peak of my artistic worth. I might not be acknowledged at all when I reach that peak. It's not, the two things aren't necessarily correlated.
After years of drug addiction, John speaks about the negative effects drug use has on life and creativity. He makes a point of experiencing richer feelings without drugs, having a positive impact on not just his own life, but also the people surrounding him.
I believe that the people who have done good things on drugs could have done good things without drugs, and I believe that they would have also had the added bonus of their life not falling apart, you know. Every time make people's lives fall apart. Sometimes it happens gradually, sometimes it happens quickly, but it always happens, and I just think it's silly, you know. Yeah, you can get some good feelings from drugs, but you can get just as good feelings without drugs if you live your life properly, and if you get a good enough roll going as far as your creativity goes. I know that if you dedicate every second of every day to being as creative as you can be, that you can live a way richer life with more variety of feelings and making other people feel good as well every minute of the day with no drugs, you know. And with drugs, if you let the drugs take their course, you won't be making anybody else feel good. You'll be making all your friends feel awful, and you'll also feel awful about yourself because you'll stop being able to be creative at a certain point, you know. And you'll have to constantly struggle to stay away from them. Life shouldn't be a struggle. Life should be a flowing, smooth thing. This isn't a hard world to live in. This isn't a hard dimension to live in. If you surround yourself with the right people, and if you do the right things, and if you're as good of a person as you're capable of being to other people, you'll find that the world will make a space for you, you know. What happens to you is dictated by the things you think about, and you should always think good things and always look for the good in the world. And if you look for the bad in the world, you'll always find something bad, but if you look for the good in the world, you'll find it. It's there. I've seen people having a sort of a spiritual life be really beneficial to them as creative people, because When you separate yourself from the three-dimensional world and you realize that there's other planes of existence and that the heavens are as much of a part of this dimension as the ground is, you can start sort of trying to recreate the sky and the clouds and stuff with your music, and you can start really just being a better mirror of nature in your music. But God and religion, I don't think it does anything positive for you as an artist. I think it's important for an artist to be free of any organized form of belief, you know. I think a person should invent their own sort of system of belief as they find out about it. It's like, I didn't really understand anything about other dimensions when I was a little kid, but I was always open-minded and I was always trying to learn more things. And at this point in my life, you know, I feel like spirits and ghosts and things have as much to do with my music as people do, you know.
In my opinion, John is just as big of a spiritual influence as he is musically. What do you think?